My name is Lovie Peterson, and I'm 65 years old. For 40 years, I ran a successful catering business in Atlanta. I was known in my community, respected, trusted. People came to me for weddings, church events, family reunions. My food and my reputation were impeccable. Until my daughter-in-law destroyed both with lies. But today, I'm going to tell you about the moment I got my revenge. The moment I exposed her on live television in front of millions of people. The moment she literally choked on her own lies. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting on the set of Atlanta Live, a popular local talk show that broadcasts across Georgia. The host, Cicero James, had invited me and my daughter-in-law Verdie to discuss family reconciliation after a misunderstanding. That's what Verdie had told the producers. A misunderstanding, not a calculated, 2-year campaign to destroy my life and reputation. The cameras were rolling. We were live. Thousands of people watching in their homes. Verdie sat next to me on the couch, wearing her best church dress, her face painted with fake concern and sadness. Cicero looked at us both. "Mrs. Peterson, Mrs. Verdie Peterson, thank you for joining us today. Verdie, you reached out to our show saying you wanted to reconcile with your mother-in-law after some family difficulties. Can you tell us what happened?" Verdie dabbed at her eyes with a tissue, fake tears, of course. "Cicero, it breaks my heart. Miss Lovie and I used to be so close. But over the past 2 years, she's been struggling with some mental health issues, memory problems, paranoia. She's made some accusations against me that simply aren't true, and it's torn our family apart." I sat there calmly, let her talk, let her dig her own grave. "What kind of accusations?" Cicero asked. "She claims I've been spreading lies about her, ruining her business, turning the family against her. But Cicero, I love Miss Lovie. I'm worried about her. I think she needs help, professional help. And I'm hoping today on your show we can start the healing process." Verdie reached over and took my hand, squeezed it, gave the camera her best sympathetic smile. Cicero turned to me. "Mrs. Peterson, what do you say to that?" I smiled, pulled my hand away from Verdie's, and said 5 words that changed everything. "I have proof she's lying." Verdie's face went white, her smile froze, and I pulled out my phone. "Cicero, my daughter-in-law has spent 2 years telling people I'm senile, that I'm crazy, that I abuse my son, that my catering business serves spoiled food. She's told these lies to my clients, my church, my family, and my community. She's destroyed my business and my reputation, and she did it all deliberately." "That's not true," Verdie sputtered. "I never." "I have recordings," I said calmly, "of you admitting everything, laughing about it, bragging about how you destroyed me." I handed my phone to Cicero. "Play the first one." And as Verdie's own voice filled that studio, filled the television screens of thousands of viewers, admitting that she deliberately spread lies about me, admitting she'd sabotaged my business, admitting she'd done it all to isolate my son and control the family money, Verdie literally started choking. Gasping for air, grabbing at her throat, not because something was physically wrong, but because she was having a panic attack, because she realized, live on television, that she'd been caught. If this story has you hooked, you need to subscribe right now and hit that notification bell. We bring you the most dramatic grandmother stories every week. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from: USA, UK, Canada, Jamaica, Kenya. Let us know. Now let's get into this story. But to understand how we got to that moment, how my daughter-in-law poisoned my name, and how I fought back, I need to take you back to the beginning. Back to when I first met Verdie and thought she was a blessing instead of a curse. 3 years ago, my son early came home with a woman. He was 40 years old, never been married, and I'd been praying for years that he'd find someone special. "Mama, this is Verdie. Verdie, this is my mother, Lovie." Verdie was 35, beautiful, well-dressed, and charming. She smiled at me with perfect white teeth and said, "Miss Lovie, Early has told me so much about you. I've been dying to meet the famous caterer everyone talks about." I liked her immediately. She seemed sweet, respectful. She complimented my home, my cooking, my business. She asked intelligent questions and seemed genuinely interested in my life. Early was smitten. I could see it in his eyes, and I was happy for him. My son deserved love. He'd spent his whole life taking care of me after his father died, working in my catering business, never putting himself first. "Mama," Early said later that night after Verdie left, "I think she's the one. I'm going to marry her." "Are you sure? You've only known her for 6 months." "I'm sure. Mama, I love her. And she loves me. She's everything I've ever wanted." They got married 3 months later, small ceremony at our church. I catered the reception myself, made all of Early's favorite foods. Verdie seemed happy. Early was radiating joy. And I thought, this is good. This is right. My son is finally building his own life. I had no idea. I was watching my own destruction begin. For the first 6 months of their marriage, everything seemed fine. Verdie and Early bought a nice house in a good neighborhood. Verdie worked as a nurse at a local hospital. Early continued working with me in the catering business. He was my right hand, my partner, the person who handled all the logistics while I handled the cooking. Verdie would come to family dinners. She was always polite, always helpful. She'd bring desserts, help clean up, chat with relatives. Everyone loved her. But small things started happening that I didn't understand at the time. Clients started canceling. Not many, just 1 or 2 a month, but it was unusual. I'd had the same clients for years. They'd always been satisfied. And suddenly they were canceling at the last minute or choosing other caterers. When I asked why, they were vague. "We decided to go in a different direction," or "we found someone else," or just "sorry, it's not going to work out." I didn't think much of it. Business has ups and downs. Maybe people wanted to try new caterers. It happens. But then people at church started acting strange. Not unfriendly exactly, but distant. Women I'd known for 20 years suddenly seemed uncomfortable around me. They'd smile, say hello, but they wouldn't really talk to me anymore. Wouldn't invite me to their events. Wouldn't ask me to cater their functions. Is something wrong? I asked my friend Zula one Sunday after service. She looked uncomfortable. "No, Lovie, everything's fine." "You've been avoiding me for weeks. Did I do something to offend you?" No, I've just been busy." That's all. But I could see it in her eyes. Something was wrong. She knew something I didn't. Around this same time, Early started changing. He'd always been close to me, called me every day, came by for Sunday dinner. We'd talk about the business, about life, about everything. But after he married Verdie, the calls became less frequent. The visits became shorter. And when he did come by, Verdie was always with him, always watching, always monitoring our conversations. "Early, I need your help with the Johnson wedding this weekend," I'd say. "I can't, Mama. Verdie and I have plans." "But you always help with the big events. The Johnsons specifically requested you." I said I can't. Verdie needs me home. It was always about what Verdie needed, never about what I needed, never about the business, never about our relationship. I tried to talk to him about it. "Early, is everything okay? You seem different." "I'm fine, Mama. I'm just busy. I have a wife now. I can't spend all my time working for you." "I'm not asking you to spend all your time. I'm just asking for help with the business we built together." "Maybe it's time you retired, Mama. You're 65. You should be taking it easy, not working yourself to death." That stung. I wasn't working myself to death. I loved my work, and I wasn't ready to retire. The business was my life. "I'll retire when I'm ready, not before." Early sighed. "Mama, Verdie thinks you're pushing yourself too hard. She's worried about you. We're both worried." "I don't need you to worry about me. I'm fine." But he kept pushing, and Verdie kept worrying. And slowly I started to realize they wanted me to retire. They wanted me to close the business. But why? 8 months after Early's wedding, things got worse. Much worse. I got a call from Mrs. Sudie Washington, one of my oldest clients. She was calling to cancel her daughter's wedding reception, an event I'd been planning for 6 months. "Mrs. Washington, what happened? Did I do something wrong?" "Miss Lovie, I don't want to discuss this. I'm just canceling, that's all." But the wedding is in 3 weeks. Everything is already ordered. You'll lose your deposit. I'm aware of that. I'll pay whatever cancellation fees you require, but I can't have you cater my daughter's wedding. Why not? Please tell me what's wrong. There was a long silence. Then, Miss Lovie, I heard some things about your food, about sanitation problems, about health code violations. I can't risk having unsafe food at my daughter's wedding. My heart stopped. What? Who told you that? That's not true. I've never had a health code violation in 40 years. That's not what I heard. And Miss Lovie, I also heard that you're not well, that you're having memory problems, that you've been confused and making mistakes. I'm sorry, but I can't take that risk. Who told you this? I'd rather not say. I'm just canceling, that's all. She hung up, and I sat there, shaking, realizing something terrible. Someone was deliberately destroying my business. Someone was spreading lies about me, lies about my food, lies about my health, lies designed to ruin my reputation. But who and why? Over the next few months, it got worse, much worse. More clients canceled, more people at church avoided me, and then the rumors reached my family. My sister called me. Lovie, is it true you're having memory problems? What? No, who told you that? Verdie called me. She said you've been forgetting things, getting confused. She said she's worried about you living alone. She thinks you might need to move into assisted living. That's ridiculous. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with my memory. She seemed very concerned. She said Early is worried too, that you've been making mistakes in the business, forgetting orders, mixing up dates. None of that is true. I haven't forgotten anything. Who else has Verdie been talking to? Well, she called most of the family, your cousins, your nephews. She said she was reaching out for support because Early is so stressed dealing with your decline. My decline, like I was an old woman losing her mind, like I was incompetent, helpless, senile. And that's when I knew. That's when I finally understood. Verdie was doing this, my own daughter-in-law. She was the one spreading lies. She was the one destroying my business. She was the one poisoning my name. But why? What did she have to gain? I decided to confront her. Went to her house one afternoon when I knew Early would be at work. Verdie answered the door with a sweet smile. Miss Lovie, what a surprise, come in. I walked into her spotless living room. She offered me tea. I refused. Verdie, we need to talk. Of course, what's on your mind? I know what you've been doing, the lies you've been spreading about my food, about my health, about me. Her smile never wavered. Miss Lovie, I don't know what you're talking about. You've been telling people I'm senile, that I have memory problems, that my food isn't safe. You've been destroying my business and my reputation. Miss Lovie, I think you're confused. I'm not confused. I know exactly what's happening, and I want to know why. What did I ever do to you? Verdie's smile finally faded, and what replaced it was cold, calculating, cruel. You really want to know why? Yes. Because you're in the way. Early is 40 years old and he's still attached to his mommy, still working in your little catering business instead of having a real career, still spending all his time with you instead of building a life with me. As long as you're around, I'll never have him completely. So yes, I'm getting rid of you. And honestly, it's been easier than I thought. I stared at her. At this woman my son had married. This woman who'd smiled to my face while stabbing me in the back. You won't get away with this. I already have. Everyone believes me. Everyone thinks you're a confused old woman. Even Early is starting to believe it. Soon he'll agree that you need to be in a nursing home. And once you're gone, I'll have him all to myself. And your business, I'll convince Early to sell it. All that equipment, all those clients, there's money there. Money we'll use to build our life. Without you. Early would never do that to me. Are you sure? Because he already chose me over you when he stopped helping with your business. He already chose me over you when he started making excuses not to see you. He's already pulling away, Miss Lovie. And soon, he'll be completely mine. She walked me to the door. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have phone calls to make. I need to call a few more of your clients. Tell them about the cockroaches I saw in your kitchen last time I visited. There were no cockroaches. I know, but they don't know that. And by the time you try to deny it, your reputation will be so destroyed that no one will believe you anyway. She closed the door in my face. And I stood there on her porch, realizing I was fighting a battle I didn't know how to win. Because how do you fight lies? How do you prove a negative? How do you convince people that things that never happened? That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed thinking about everything Verdie had said, about how she was isolating my son, about how she was destroying my business, about how she planned to put me in a nursing home and take everything I'd worked for. And I realized I needed proof. I needed evidence. I needed to catch her in the act. So the next morning, I went to a store that sold security equipment, bought a small recording device, the kind you could hide in your purse or pocket, legal in Georgia as long as one person in the conversation knew it was recording, and that person would be me. I started carrying it everywhere, hoping that maybe, somehow, Verdie would slip up, would say something incriminating, would give me proof. 2 weeks later, I got my chance. There was a family gathering at Early and Verdie's house, a barbecue. The whole family was invited, and I went, carrying my recording device in my pocket turned on. During the party, I overheard Verdie talking to my nephew Otha in the kitchen. I stood outside the door, listening. "Is it true Aunt Lovie is having memory problems?" Otha asked. "Unfortunately, yes," Verdie said with fake sadness. "It's getting worse. Last week, she forgot an entire wedding order. The bride showed up and there was no food. It was humiliating. Early had to scramble to fix it." That was a lie. That had never happened. "That's terrible." "It is, and honestly, Otha, between you and me, I'm worried she's going to hurt someone. What if she serves spoiled food and people get sick? What if there's a lawsuit? Early and I could lose everything." "Have you talked to her about retiring?" "We've tried, but she's in denial. She doesn't believe there's anything wrong with her. Classic early-stage dementia. The patient is the last to know." My hands were shaking, but I kept recording. "What are you going to do?" "Well, Early and I have been discussing it. We might need to get power of attorney, make medical decisions for her. Maybe find a nice assisted living facility where she can be safe and cared for." "Does she know about this?" "Not yet. We're waiting for the right time to talk to her. But Otha, if you could help us, if you could talk to the rest of the family, let them know what's happening, it would make things easier. We need everyone to understand that this isn't us being cruel. This is us protecting her." "I'll do whatever I can to help." "Thank you. Family has to look out for family, right?" I walked away from that door with fury in my heart and evidence in my pocket. But I knew one recording wasn't enough. I needed more. I needed to catch her admitting everything. The lies about my food, the deliberate sabotage, all of it. And over the next 3 months, I collected more recordings. Verdie talking to my clients. Verdie talking to church members. Verdie talking to family. Always lying. Always poisoning my name. Always pretending to be concerned while destroying me. And then I got the recording that would change everything. The one where Verdie admitted her entire plan, laughed about how easy it was to fool everyone, bragged about how she was going to take control of my business assets once I was declared incompetent. I had the proof I needed, but what was I going to do with it? That's when I got a call that seemed like fate intervening. "Hello, is this Lovie Peterson, the caterer?" "Yes, this is Lovie." "My name is Cicero James. I host a talk show called Atlanta Live. We're doing a series on family reconciliation, and someone reached out to us about you and your daughter-in-law. Would you be interested in appearing on our show to discuss your family issues and hopefully find resolution?" My heart started pounding. "Who reached out to you?" "Your daughter-in-law, Verdie. She says there's been some misunderstanding between you two, and she'd like to reconcile publicly. She thinks it might help heal the family." I smiled, because Verdie had just made a huge mistake. She thought she was going to use that TV show to further humiliate me, to paint me as the crazy old woman who needed help. But instead, I was going to use it to expose her, in front of thousands of people, live, with no chance for her to lie her way out. Yes, I said. I'd love to be on your show. When can we do this? Oh my God, she has the proof. If you're on the edge of your seat, smash that like button and subscribe immediately. Turn on notifications. And comment, where are you watching from? And have you ever dealt with a toxic family member? After I agreed to appear on Atlanta Live, I had 2 weeks to prepare. 2 weeks to gather my evidence. 2 weeks to plan exactly what I was going to say and how I was going to expose Verdie. But those 2 weeks were also the worst of my entire life, because Verdie didn't know I was planning to expose her. She thought the TV show was going to be her final victory, her chance to publicly paint me as a senile old woman who needed help. So she escalated, made her lies bigger, bolder, more destructive. 3 days after I agreed to do the show, I lost my biggest client. The Riverside Country Club had used my catering services for 15 years. Every wedding, every corporate event, every charity gala, I was their exclusive caterer. Until the club manager called me. Miss Lovie, I'm sorry to inform you that we're terminating our contract with your catering company. What? Why? Have I done something wrong? We've received multiple complaints about food quality, about professionalism, about sanitation concerns. The board has decided we can't risk our reputation by continuing to work with you. What complaints? From who? I've never had a single problem in 15 years. I'm not at liberty to say. The decision is final, I'm sorry. 15 years of business. Gone, just like that, and I knew exactly who was behind it. I called the club manager back an hour later. Please, tell me who complained. I have a right to know who's accusing me of these things. He sighed. All right, but this is off the record. One of our members, Mrs. Lovie Peterson, came to us with concerns. She said she's your daughter-in-law, that she's witnessed problems in your kitchen, that you've been declining mentally and it's affecting your work. She said she felt obligated to warn us before someone got food poisoning. My own daughter-in-law, using her position as a club member to destroy my biggest contract. That's all lies, every word of it. Miss Lovie, Mrs. Peterson seemed very credible, very concerned. She provided specific examples, none of which are true. She's deliberately sabotaging me. I understand you're upset, but the decision has been made. I'm sorry. After I hung up, I sat in my empty catering kitchen and cried. Not just because I'd lost the contract, but because I was losing everything. My business was dying, my reputation was destroyed, and the woman responsible was my own son's wife. That same week, things got worse with Early. He came by my house, first time in a month, and he didn't look happy. Mama, we need to talk. About what? About you, about your health, about the business. I'm fine, Early. There's nothing to talk about. You're not fine. Verdie told me about the Riverside Country Club, about how they dropped you because of complaints. Mama, that's serious. That's your biggest client. They dropped me because Verdie lied to them. She told them I have sanitation problems. She told them I'm mentally declining. None of it is true. Early looked at me with pity, the same look you'd give a confused child, and that look broke my heart. Mama, Verdie wouldn't do that. She loves you. She's been trying to help you. Help me? Early, she's destroying me. She's been spreading lies about me for over a year. She's the reason my business is failing. Or maybe your business is failing because you're getting older and you're not able to keep up anymore. Mama, there's no shame in that. It happens to everyone. I'm 65 years old. I'm not ancient. I'm still perfectly capable of running my business. Are you? Because I've been hearing things from clients, from family, from church members. Everyone says the same thing: you're declining, you're forgetting things, you're making mistakes. Because Verdie has been telling them that. She's been poisoning people against me. Mama, listen to yourself. You sound paranoid. This is exactly what Verdie was worried about, that you'd start blaming her for your problems instead of accepting that you need help. I stared at my son, my only child, the boy I'd raised alone after his father died, the man I'd worked 3 jobs to put through college, and he didn't believe me. He believed her. Early, I'm telling you the truth. Verdie is deliberately sabotaging me. She admitted it to my face. She said she wants me out of the way so she can have you all to herself. That's ridiculous. Verdie has never been anything but kind to you. She's been lying to everyone, and she's got you fooled. Early stood up. I came here to talk about you getting help, medical help, maybe seeing a doctor about your memory, but I can see you're not ready to hear that. Mama, I love you, but I can't watch you destroy yourself. When you're ready to accept reality, call me. He left, and I realized Verdie had won. She turned my own son against me, made him believe I was crazy, made him doubt me. But I still had 2 weeks until the TV show. 2 weeks to prove I was telling the truth. The next morning, I got a surprise visit from my pastor, Reverend Doc Williams. Sister Lovie, may I come in? Of course, Reverend. We sat in my living room. He looked uncomfortable. Sister Lovie, I've been hearing some concerning things about your health, about your business. I wanted to check on you. Let me guess, Verdie came to talk to you. He nodded. She came to my office last week. She's very worried about you. She says you've been having memory problems, that you're in denial about needing help. She asked if the church could intervene, maybe do a pastoral counseling session. Reverend, I don't have memory problems. Verdie is lying. She's been spreading false rumors about me to destroy my reputation. Why would she do that? Because she wants me out of Early's life. She wants control of my business assets. She's been systematically destroying everything I've built. Reverend Doc looked skeptical. Sister Lovie, those are serious accusations. Do you have any proof? Yes, I have recordings of her admitting everything, of her lying to people, of her planning to have me declared incompetent. Recordings, Sister Lovie, I'm not sure. I know how it sounds. I know I sound paranoid, but Reverend, I'm telling you the truth, and in 2 weeks I'm going to prove it, on television, on Atlanta Live. I'm going to expose everything Verdie has done. The pastor's eyes widened. You're going on television. Yes, Verdie arranged it, thinking she'd use it to further humiliate me, but I'm going to use it to clear my name. Sister Lovie, I strongly advise against that. Airing family business on television, it won't end well. Whatever problems you and Verdie have, they should be resolved privately. I tried that. She laughed in my face, said no one would believe me because she'd already destroyed my credibility. So now I'm going public. Let everyone hear the truth directly from her own mouth. The pastor looked troubled. I'll pray for you, Sister Lovie. I'll pray that this situation resolves peacefully. After he left, I realized, even my own pastor doubted me. Verdie had poisoned the wells so thoroughly that no one believed me anymore. But they would. In 2 weeks they would. 1 week before the TV appearance, my business hit rock bottom. I had to cancel 3 events because clients pulled out at the last minute. I had to lay off my 2 part-time employees because I couldn't afford to pay them. I was facing bankruptcy. 40 years of work, gone, all because of one woman's lies. I spent that week preparing. I organized all my recordings, made transcripts, created a timeline showing exactly when Verdie had contacted each person and what lies she'd told. I wanted everything documented, everything clear, no room for doubt. I also practiced what I was going to say, how I was going to stay calm, how I was going to present the evidence, because I knew Verdie would try to twist things, would try to paint me as the villain. I needed to be prepared. 3 days before the show, Verdie called me. Miss Lovie, I'm so glad we're doing this TV appearance together. I think it's going to help so much with our relationship. The fake sweetness in her voice made me sick. I'm sure it will be very revealing, I said. The producers told me they want us to talk about our misunderstanding and how we can move forward as a family. I think it's wonderful that you're finally willing to get help. Oh, I'm not the one who needs help, Verdie. Now, Miss Lovie, let's not start that again. The show is about reconciliation, remember, about healing. I'm hoping you'll use this opportunity to admit you've been struggling and accept the support your family wants to give you. We'll see what gets admitted on that show. There was a pause. Then, Miss Lovie, I hope you're not planning to make any wild accusations on television. Because if you do, it will only prove what everyone already thinks, that you're not well, that you need help. It won't look good for you. I'm not worried about how I look. I'm worried about the truth coming out. The truth is that you're a sick woman who needs professional care. And if you try to blame me for your problems on national television, everyone will see exactly how delusional you've become. You'll be humiliating yourself, Miss Lovie. Is that really what you want? What I want is justice, and that's exactly what I'm going to get. I hung up, and I could almost hear Verdie's confidence through the phone. She really believed she'd won, really believed that no one would believe me over her. But she'd made one critical mistake. She'd underestimated me, thought I was just a sad old woman she could easily destroy. She had no idea I'd been gathering evidence for months. No idea I had recordings of her own voice admitting everything. The night before the TV appearance, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed thinking about everything that was about to happen, about how Verdie would react when I played those recordings, about how Early would feel when he heard his wife's true voice, about how my reputation might finally be restored. But I was also scared, because going on television was a gamble. What if people still didn't believe me? What if they thought the recordings were fake? What if Verdie somehow talked her way out of it? No, I couldn't think like that. I had the truth, and the truth had to be enough. At 6 a.m., my phone rang. It was Early. Mama, I heard you're going on that TV show today with Verdie. Yes. Mama, please don't do this. Don't embarrass yourself on television. Don't make accusations you can't prove. Just admit you need help. Let us take care of you, please. Early, I love you, but I'm going on that show, and you need to watch it, because you're going to learn the truth about your wife. Mama. Watch the show, Early. That's all I ask, just watch it. I hung up before he could argue more. At 2 p.m., I arrived at the television studio. The Atlanta Live offices were in a big building downtown. Security checked me in. A producer met me in the lobby. Mrs. Peterson, I'm Verdie Chen, one of the producers. Thank you so much for coming. Let me take you to hair and makeup. As I walked through the hallways, I felt surreal, like I was in a dream. In less than an hour, I'd be sitting on a couch in front of cameras, exposing my daughter-in-law's lies to thousands of people. In the makeup chair, I checked my purse, made sure my phone was there with all the recordings loaded and ready, made sure the volume was turned up. Everything had to be perfect. Verdie arrived 30 minutes later. She was wearing a beautiful navy blue dress, expensive, elegant. She'd had her hair and makeup professionally done. She looked like the perfect, concerned daughter-in-law. She saw me and smiled, came over and hugged me. Miss Lovie, you look wonderful. Are you nervous? Not at all. Are you? No, I'm excited. This is going to be so good for our family. She sat in the makeup chair next to mine. I spoke with the producers. They're going to ask us about the misunderstandings we've had. I'll talk about your health concerns. You'll have a chance to respond. And then hopefully we can agree to move forward with getting you proper care. Sound good? Sounds perfect, I said with a smile. Verdie looked satisfied. She thought she knew exactly how this was going to go. She thought she had complete control. But in 30 minutes, her entire world was going to explode. At 3:45 p.m., a production assistant came to get us. Ladies, we're ready for you. You'll be going on in 5 minutes. The show is live, so once we start, we won't stop until the segment is over. Is that understood? Yes, we both said. As we walked onto the set, I saw the cameras, the lights, the studio audience. My heart was pounding, but I wasn't nervous. I was ready. Cicero James, the host, greeted us. He was a tall, handsome man in his 50s with a warm smile. Mrs. Peterson, Mrs. Verdie Peterson, thank you for being here. This is going to be a powerful segment. We sat on the couch, Verdie on my left, Cicero in a chair facing us, 3 cameras pointing at us. Red lights came on. We were live. Good afternoon, Atlanta, Cicero said into the camera. Today we have a special segment about family reconciliation. I'm here with Lovie Peterson, a local caterer, and her daughter-in-law, Verdie Peterson. These two women have been estranged for the past year due to what Verdie calls a misunderstanding. Verdie reached out to our show, hoping to heal this relationship. Ladies, thank you for being here. Thank you for having us, Verdie said sweetly. Cicero looked at Verdie. Verdie, you contacted our show. Tell us what's been happening with your family. And Verdie launched into her lies. About my supposed memory problems. About my supposed mental decline. About how worried she and Early were. About how they just wanted me to get help. I sat there quietly. Let her talk. Let her dig her own grave on live television. When she finished, Cicero turned to me. Mrs. Peterson, what do you say to that? And I smiled. I say I have proof she's lying. The studio went silent. Verdie's fake smile froze, and I pulled out my phone. Everything Verdie just said is a lie, and I can prove it, because I have recordings. Of her admitting that she deliberately spread lies about me. Of her planning to isolate my son and control our family's money. Of her laughing about how easy it was to destroy my reputation. Verdie's face went white. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Cicero leaned forward, intrigued. You have recordings. Multiple recordings. Would you like to hear them? Yes, I would. I handed him my phone. Play the first one, the one labeled Kitchen Confession. And as my phone connected to the studio's sound system, Verdie's voice filled the room, filled the television screens of thousands of viewers. Her voice admitting that she'd lied to my clients about food poisoning. Her voice laughing about how easily people believed her. Her voice saying, old people are so easy to discredit. Just say they're senile and everyone believes you. The audience gasped. Cicero's eyes went wide, and Verdie started grabbing at her throat, making choking sounds, her face turning red. Not because she was actually choking, but because she was having a full panic attack on live television, realizing she'd been caught in her own lies. And I sat there calmly, watching her world collapse, thinking, this is justice. This is truth. This is what you deserve. But we weren't done yet, because I had 5 more recordings to play, and each one was worse than the last. She's CHOKING on her own lies. If you're screaming right now, smash that like button and subscribe. Turn on all notifications. And comment, where are you watching from? And what do you think happens next? The studio erupted in chaos. Audience members were gasping, murmuring, pointing. Verdie was still clutching her throat, hyperventilating, her perfect makeup running as tears streamed down her face. But these weren't the fake tears she'd been planning to cry. These were real tears of panic and humiliation. A production assistant rushed over with water. Ma'am, are you okay? Do you need medical attention? Verdie waved her away, trying to compose herself. But her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the water bottle. Cicero looked at me, then at Verdie, then back at me. Mrs. Peterson, that recording. That was your daughter-in-law's voice. Yes, that's Verdie. Recorded 6 weeks ago when she was talking to my nephew Atha. She thought I couldn't hear her, but I was standing right outside the door with a recording device. And you have more recordings like this. 5 more, each one showing exactly what she's been doing to destroy my life. Cicero turned to Verdie. Mrs. Verdie Peterson, do you want to respond to what we just heard? Verdie's voice came out as a croak. That was taken out of context. She edited it. She's trying to make me look bad. Play the second recording, I said calmly. This one was even worse. It was Verdie talking to one of my clients, Mrs. Paralee Hutchins, telling her that I'd served spoiled chicken at a church event and people had gotten sick. All lies. But in the recording, Verdie sounded so sincere, so concerned. I just thought you should know before you hire her for your event, Verdie's voice said on the recording. I'd hate for your guests to get food poisoning. Miss Lovie means well, but she's just not capable anymore. The audience was getting louder. People were shaking their heads. Some were actually booing. Verdie tried again. I was just trying to protect people. Miss Lovie has been declining. I was worried someone would get sick. Play the third recording, I said. This one was the conversation I'd recorded from right outside the kitchen at Early's barbecue. where Verdie told Atha that I'd forgotten an entire wedding order, something that had never happened, and that she was planning to get power of attorney over me and put me in assisted living. "We need to do it soon, before she causes real damage," Verdie's voice said on the recording. "Once we have power of attorney, we can sell her business equipment. There's probably $150,000 worth of commercial kitchen stuff. That money could really help Early and me." The audience gasped again, because now it wasn't just about lies. It was about money, about stealing from a sick woman, except I wasn't sick. I never had been. Cicero looked shocked. "You were planning to sell her business equipment." Verdie was crying hard now. Real, ugly crying. "No, I mean, we were just talking about options. In case she really couldn't work anymore, I wasn't going to steal from her." "Play the fourth recording," I said. This one was the most damaging. It was from 2 months ago. I'd hidden my recording device in my purse when Verdie came to visit me, and I'd gotten her to admit everything. On the recording, my voice said, "Verdie, why are you doing this to me?" And Verdie's voice, cold and cruel, said, "Because you're in the way, Miss Lovie. As long as you're around, Early will always put you first. I'm his wife. I should come first, so I'm removing you from the equation. And honestly, it's been easier than I thought. People love a concerned family member. They eat up the worried daughter-in-law trying to help her declining mother-in-law story. No one questions it." The studio went completely silent. Even Cicero looked stunned. In that recording, Verdie continued, "By the time I'm done, everyone will think you're senile. Your business will be gone. Your reputation will be destroyed. And Early will have no choice but to agree that you need professional care. Then we'll get power of attorney, move you into a facility, and finally have our lives to ourselves. Plus, we'll have access to all your assets. It's really a win-win. For us, anyway." The audience exploded. People were shouting. Some were standing up. The anger in that room was palpable. "You monster," someone yelled from the audience. "How could you do that to your own family?" Cicero had to call for order. "Please, everyone, let's maintain composure." He turned to Verdie, and his face showed disgust. "Mrs. Peterson, we just heard you admit to deliberately destroying your mother-in-law's reputation and planning to steal from her. What do you have to say?" Verdie was hyperventilating again. I didn't mean. It wasn't supposed to. She tricked me. She recorded me without permission." "In Georgia, one-party consent is legal," I said calmly. "As long as one person in the conversation knows it's being recorded, and that was me, it's completely legal, and it's admissible as evidence." "Evidence?" Verdie's eyes went wide. You're pressing charges." "I haven't decided yet, but I wanted the truth to come out. I wanted everyone who believed your lies to hear your own voice admitting what you did." Cicero looked at me with newfound respect. "Mrs. Peterson, this is extraordinary. You've been systematically gathering evidence against your daughter-in-law for months." "I had to, because she was right about one thing. People believed her. No one believed me when I said she was lying, so I needed proof, undeniable proof." "And the other 2 recordings?" "One is her talking to my pastor, telling him I'm a danger to myself and others. Another is her talking to the Riverside Country Club manager, making up stories about sanitation violations in my kitchen. Every single word is a lie, and every single recording proves it." During the commercial break, chaos erupted backstage. The producers were frantically discussing what to do. This wasn't the reconciliation story they'd planned. This was a full-blown exposure of elder abuse. Verdie tried to leave. Literally tried to walk off the set, but security stopped her. "Ma'am, you can't leave. We're live. You need to finish the segment." "I can't go back out there. Everyone hates me. Did you hear them? They were yelling at me." "You agreed to appear on this show. You need to see it through." One of the producers came over to me. "Mrs. Peterson, what you're doing. It's powerful. But we need to ask, do you have any other evidence besides the recordings? Anything that corroborates your story?" "I have testimonies from people who have since realized Verdie lied to them. I have my business records showing I never had the violations she claimed. I have medical records proving I don't have memory problems or dementia. I have 40 years of perfect health inspection reports. I have everything. Would you be willing to share that documentation with us? Absolutely. I want the whole truth out there. When we came back from commercial, Cicero's tone had changed. He was no longer the friendly mediator. He was investigative, hard. We're back with Lovie Peterson and Verdie Peterson. Before the break, we heard recordings that appear to show Verdie deliberately spreading false information about her mother-in-law. Verdie, I'm going to give you one more chance to explain yourself. Why did you do this? Verdie had partially composed herself. She'd wiped her face, fixed her hair, and now she was trying a different strategy, playing the victim. Cicero, you have to understand, I was under tremendous stress. Early and I have been struggling financially. Miss Lovie's business was taking up all of Early's time. I felt neglected, ignored. I just wanted my husband back. And maybe I went about it the wrong way, but I never meant to hurt anyone. You told people she served spoiled food. You said she had dementia. You tried to destroy her 40-year business. That's not just going about it the wrong way. That's calculated destruction. I was desperate. I just wanted. You wanted her money, I interrupted. You said so yourself on the recording. You wanted access to my assets, my business equipment, my house. This wasn't about feeling neglected. This was about greed. That's not fair. What's not fair is what you did to me. I've been in business for 40 years. 40 years without a single complaint, without a single violation, without a single problem. And in 18 months, you destroyed everything. My clients dropped me. My church family avoided me. Even my own son stopped believing me. You poisoned my name. You poisoned my reputation. You poisoned my entire life. The audience applauded. Someone yelled, "Tell her, Miss Lovie." Verdie was crying again. I'm sorry, okay. I'm sorry, I made mistakes. I did terrible things, but I'm not a monster. I just wanted my marriage to work. At my expense, I said coldly. You wanted your marriage to work so badly that you were willing to destroy mine. My marriage to my work, my marriage to my community, my marriage to my reputation. Cicero leaned forward. Mrs. Lovie Peterson, what do you want to happen now? What's your goal here? I want my name cleared. I want everyone who believed Verdie's lies to know the truth. I want my clients back. I want my reputation back. I want my life back. And what about Verdie? Do you want her prosecuted? I looked at my daughter-in-law, at this woman who'd smiled to my face while stabbing me in the back, at this woman who'd almost succeeded in destroying everything I'd built. That depends on Early, on my son. If he believes me now, if he finally sees what she is, then maybe we can find a way forward. But if he still chooses her over the truth, then yes, I'll press charges for defamation, for elder abuse, for fraud, whatever applies. And if Early does believe you, then Verdie needs to fix what she broke. Every client she lied to, she contacts them and tells them the truth. Every person she poisoned against me, she apologizes to. Every lie she told, she corrects. Publicly, completely. And she stays away from me and my business forever. During the next commercial break, something happened that changed everything. A production assistant rushed over to Cicero. Sir, we have a call from Early Peterson, Lovie's son. He's been watching the show. He wants to speak on air. My heart stopped. Early had been watching. He'd heard everything. Cicero looked at me. Mrs. Peterson, would you be comfortable with your son joining the conversation? Yes, please. When we came back from commercial, Cicero addressed the camera. We have a special addition to our conversation. On the phone is Early Peterson, husband to Verdie and son to Lovie. Early, thank you for calling in. Have you been watching the show? Early's voice came through the studio speakers, and he sounded broken. Yes, I've been watching, every second, Mama. Mama, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I started crying, really crying, because that was my son, my boy, and he finally believed me. I should have listened to you, Early continued. I should have believed you, but Verdie was so convincing. She had me completely fooled. She made me think you were sick. She made me doubt you. And I'm ashamed. I'm so ashamed that I chose her over you. Verdie was staring at the speaker with horror. Early, no. Don't, Early said, his voice hard. Don't say anything to me right now, Verdie. I just heard you admit on national television that you deliberately destroyed my mother, that you lied to everyone, that you were planning to steal from her. How could you? How could you do this? I did it for us, for our marriage. By destroying my mother, by turning me against the woman who raised me, by making me think she was losing her mind. Verdie, what you did. There's no coming back from this. Early, please. I want a divorce. I don't care what it takes. I don't care how long it takes. I want you out of my life. And Mama, I'm moving back home, back to help you with the business, back to where I should have been all along. Can you forgive me? I couldn't speak, could only cry and nod. Cicero spoke gently. Mrs. Peterson, your son can't see you nodding. You need to tell him. Yes, I managed to say. Yes, baby, come home, please come home. The rest of the show was a blur. Cicero asked more questions. The audience asked questions. People called in to share their own stories of being lied about by family members. But the most important moment came at the end. Cicero looked directly at the camera. Viewers, what we've witnessed today is a form of abuse that doesn't get talked about enough. Elder abuse, financial exploitation, reputation destruction. Mrs. Lovie Peterson spent 18 months being systematically destroyed by someone she trusted, someone she welcomed into her family, and she fought back the only way she could, with truth, with evidence, with courage. He turned to me. Mrs. Peterson, you're an inspiration. And I hope your story helps other people who are being abused or lied about to find their own courage to fight back. Then he turned to Verdie. Mrs. Verdie Peterson, you came on this show thinking you would paint yourself as the hero, the concerned daughter-in-law trying to help. But instead, you've shown yourself to be exactly what Mrs. Lovie said you were, someone willing to destroy another person for your own gain. I hope you face consequences for what you've done. Legal consequences. Social consequences, all of it. The show ended. The cameras turned off, and I sat there exhausted, relieved, and vindicated. Verdie tried to approach me. Miss Lovie, can we talk? Can we please just? No, I said firmly. We're done talking. You're done lying, and you're done being part of my life or my son's life. Leave now. Security escorted her out, and I watched her go, knowing I'd never have to see her again. Over the next few days, the show went viral. Clips of Verdie's recordings were shared millions of times on social media. News outlets picked up the story. I was invited on other shows to talk about elder abuse and fighting back against lies. But the most important thing that happened was this. My clients came back. One by one, they called me, apologizing, asking to rebook their events, telling me they should have known better than to believe the lies. The Riverside Country Club called. Miss Lovie, we made a terrible mistake. We should have investigated before terminating our contract. We'd like to reinstate you as our exclusive caterer, if you'll have us back. My church family apologized. My pastor apologized. Everyone who'd avoided me, who'd doubted me, who'd believed Verdie's lies, they all apologized. And my business came back, better than before, because now everyone knew my story. Everyone knew I'd been willing to fight for my name, and they respected that. Early moved back in with me, started working in the business again, and slowly we rebuilt our relationship. Mama, I'll never forgive myself for doubting you, he said one night over dinner. You were manipulated by someone you loved. That's not your fault. But I should have known. I should have seen through her lies. People like Verdie are experts at manipulation. They know exactly what to say, exactly how to make you doubt yourself. You're not the first person to be fooled, and you won't be the last. What about Verdie? Have you heard from her? No, and I don't want to. That chapter of my life is closed. But actually, that wasn't entirely true. Because there was still one more thing that needed to happen. One more piece of the story that would shock everyone, including me. The truth is out. If this gave you chills, smash that like button and subscribe now. Turn on all notifications. And comment, where are you watching from? And what do you think is going to happen with Verdie? 3 days after the Atlanta Live episode aired, I woke up to my phone ringing nonstop. Calls from former clients. calls from news outlets, calls from people I hadn't heard from in years, all wanting to apologize, to book events, to tell me they'd always known I was telling the truth. But the most surprising call came from someone I never expected, Verdie's own mother. "Miss Lovie, this is Paralee Hutchins, Verdie's mama." I sat up in bed, shocked. I'd met Verdie's mother exactly twice, once at the wedding and once at a family dinner. We weren't close. "Yes, Mrs. Hutchins, how are you?" I'm ashamed, Miss Lovie. I watched that TV show. I heard what my daughter did to you. And I need you to know I didn't raise her to be like that. I don't know where she learned to lie and manipulate like that, but it didn't come from me." "Mrs. Hutchins, you're not responsible for your adult daughter's choices." "But I should have seen it. Looking back now, I can see the pattern. She's always been like this. Even as a teenager, she'd lie to get what she wanted, manipulate situations to her advantage. I thought she'd outgrown it. I thought marriage would mature her. But clearly, I was wrong." "Why are you calling me?" "Because I want you to know I support you pressing charges. Whatever legal action you want to take against Verdie, you have my full support. What she did to you was evil, and she needs to face real consequences." After we hung up, I sat there thinking about what Mrs. Hutchins had said. Verdie had always been like this. This wasn't new behavior. This was who she'd always been. And that made me wonder, how many other people had she destroyed before me? That same morning, I got a visit from a lawyer. Not my lawyer, a lawyer representing 3 other people who'd seen the TV show and recognized Verdie. His name was Napoleon Wright, and he carried a briefcase full of documents. "Mrs. Peterson, thank you for seeing me. I represent 3 clients who were victims of Lovie Peterson, back when her name was Verdie Hamilton, before she married your son." "Victims? What do you mean?" He pulled out files. "My clients each had business or personal relationships with Verdie over the past 10 years, and in each case, Verdie systematically lied about them, destroyed their reputations, and in 2 cases, stole money from them." My blood ran cold. She's done this before. Multiple times. Client number 1, a former business partner. They started a small marketing company together 7 years ago. Within a year, Verdie had spread rumors that her partner was embezzling funds. The partner lost clients, lost her reputation, and eventually lost the business. Turned out Verdie was the one embezzling. She'd been taking money the whole time and blaming it on her partner. Did the partner press charges? She tried, but Verdie disappeared before it went to trial. Changed her name from Verdie Hamilton to Verdie Williams, moved to a new city, and started over. And the other victims. Client number 2, a former roommate. Verdie spread rumors that this woman was using drugs and stealing from their apartment. The woman lost her job, lost her housing, and spent 2 years rebuilding her life, all based on Verdie's lies. And the third. Client number 3, a woman Verdie befriended at church. Verdie convinced this woman to co-sign a loan for $40,000, promising to pay it back. Then Verdie disappeared, leaving the woman stuck with the debt. I felt sick, so I'm not the first person she's destroyed. No, Mrs. Peterson, you're the 4th that we know of, and honestly, there are probably more. What do your clients want? Justice. They want to pursue legal action against Verdie, fraud charges, defamation, theft, but they need your help, because you're the only one who successfully gathered evidence. Your recordings, your documentation, that's the key to building a strong case against her. And if I help them, then we can show a pattern of behavior. Show that Verdie is a serial con artist who's been doing this for years. And we can make sure she faces real consequences this time. Prison time, restitution, a criminal record that will follow her forever. I thought about it. Part of me just wanted to move on, to rebuild my life and forget Verdie existed. But another part of me knew, if I didn't stop her, she'd just do this again, to someone else, some other unsuspecting person who made the mistake of trusting her. "I'll help," I said. "Give me the paperwork, I'll do whatever it takes." Over the next 2 weeks, I worked with Napoleon and his clients to build a comprehensive case against Verdie. We compiled evidence from all 4 victims. We documented her pattern of behavior. We showed how she'd change her identity and move to new places whenever her cons were about to be exposed. And then we took it to the district attorney. The DA, a woman named Mitty Crawford, reviewed everything. "This is extensive. You're telling me this woman has been running cons for over a decade?" "At least, and those are just the victims we know about. There could be more." Mitty looked at me. "Mrs. Peterson, I watched your appearance on Atlanta Live. What you did took incredible courage. And I want you to know we're going to prosecute. We're going to charge Verdie Peterson with multiple counts of fraud, defamation, identity theft, and elder abuse. She's looking at significant prison time." "Good, because she needs to be stopped." "There's one thing you should know, though. Verdie has hired a very expensive lawyer. She's going to fight this. It won't be easy." "I don't care if it's easy. I care if it's right." The legal process took 6 months. 6 months of depositions, evidence gathering, and court proceedings. Verdie tried every trick she could think of, claimed I'd edited the recordings, claimed I was lying about everything, claimed she was the real victim. But the evidence was overwhelming. 4 victims, dozens of witnesses, recordings in Verdie's own voice, bank records showing financial fraud. There was no way to deny it. Finally, 3 weeks before the trial was scheduled to begin, Verdie's lawyer came to us with a deal. "My client is willing to plead guilty to all charges in exchange for a reduced sentence. She'll accept 8 years in prison, mandatory restitution to all victims, and permanent removal from the state of Georgia upon release." Mitty looked at me. "It's your call, Mrs. Peterson. We can take this to trial and potentially get her more time, or we can accept the plea and guarantee she goes to prison." I thought about it. 8 years. It seemed too short for everything she'd done, but it also meant guaranteed consequences. No risk of a jury letting her off. "I want one more thing," I said. "I want a public apology. I want Verdie to go on camera, whether it's the news, another talk show, whatever, and admit to everything she did. To me, to the other victims, to everyone. I want her to publicly clear all of our names." The lawyer looked uncomfortable. That's a big ask." "Then I guess we go to trial, because I didn't fight this hard to let her slink away quietly. She destroyed reputations publicly. She needs to restore them publicly." After some negotiation, Verdie agreed. In exchange for the reduced sentence, she would give a televised statement admitting to everything. The statement was scheduled for 2 weeks later. Same network, same studio as Atlanta Live, but this time it was a special news segment. I was invited to attend, along with the other 3 victims. We sat in the audience as Verdie was brought in, not in handcuffs, but with her lawyer beside her, looking pale and defeated. The camera operator gave the signal. They were live. "Good evening," the news anchor said. "Tonight we have a follow-up to a story that shocked our community 3 months ago. Verdie Peterson, who was exposed on Atlanta Live for systematically destroying her mother-in-law's reputation, has agreed to give a statement as part of a plea agreement. Mrs. Peterson." Verdie looked at the camera. She'd aged visibly. Her face was gaunt, her eyes had dark circles, her hands trembled as she held her prepared statement. "My name is Verdie Peterson," she read in a monotone voice. 3 months ago, I appeared on television with my mother-in-law, Lovie Peterson. During that appearance, evidence was presented showing that I deliberately spread false information about Mrs. Peterson over an 18-month period. I told people she had dementia. I told people her food was unsafe. I told people she was incompetent. None of this was true. She paused, took a breath, continued. "I did this because I wanted to isolate my husband from his mother and gain control of family finances. I had no concern for the damage I was causing to Mrs. Peterson's 40-year business or her reputation in the community. I was motivated purely by selfishness and greed." The audience was silent, watching, waiting. Since that television appearance, 3 other victims have come forward. Women I defrauded, lied about, or stole from in the past. Everything they say about me is true. I have spent the past 10 years running cons, destroying people's reputations, and taking what doesn't belong to me. Her voice cracked slightly, but but she pushed on. I am here today to publicly apologize to Lovie Peterson and to my other victims. I am here to state clearly and unequivocally that they are innocent of everything I accused them of. Their reputations should be fully restored, and I take full responsibility for the damage I caused. She looked up from her paper, directly at me in the audience. Miss Lovie, I know this apology means nothing. I know I can never undo what I did to you. But for what it's worth, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I lied about you. I'm sorry I almost destroyed everything you built. You didn't deserve any of it. And then, for the first time since I'd known her, Verdie cried real tears. Not manipulative tears, not performance tears, real tears of genuine remorse. I'm going to prison for 8 years, and honestly, that's not enough. What I did deserves more, but I hope that in 8 years I can become a different person, a better person, someone who doesn't hurt people for personal gain. The camera cut back to the news anchor. That was Verdie Peterson's statement. As part of her plea agreement, she has been sentenced to 8 years in state prison for fraud, elder abuse, identity theft, and defamation. She will also be required to pay full restitution to all victims and will be permanently barred from returning to Georgia upon release. After the broadcast, all 4 victims, me and the other 3 women, stood outside the studio together. "Thank you," one of them said to me. "Thank you for having the courage to expose her. I tried to fight back years ago, but I didn't have evidence. I didn't have proof. She got away with it. But you made sure she couldn't run away again." "We stopped her together," I said. "All 4 of us. We made sure she faced consequences. We exchanged contact information, became friends, bonded by our shared experience of being victimized and fighting back." And as I drove home that night, I felt something I hadn't felt in 2 years: peace. 6 months after Verdie went to prison, my business was thriving, better than it had been in years, because now I wasn't just known as a good caterer, I was known as the woman who stood up to lies and won. People respected that, admired it. Early was fully integrated back into the business. We'd bought new equipment, hired 3 full-time employees, and were booked solid for the next 6 months. "Mama, we got another call," Early said one morning. "Someone wants to book us for a wedding, 500 guests, premium menu. It's going to be huge." "Who's the client?" "You're not going to believe this. It's the mayor's daughter." I laughed. "The mayor, really?" "Really? She specifically requested you. Said she admired how you handled the Verdie situation. Said she wanted someone with integrity to cater her wedding." That became a pattern. High-profile clients seeking me out specifically because of my story, because I'd proven I had integrity, because I'd fought for the truth. My reputation wasn't just restored, it was enhanced. 1 year after Verdie went to prison, I got a letter from her. "Dear Miss Lovie, I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect you to respond. But my therapist here says I need to write it anyway. I've spent the past year in prison thinking about what I did, about why I did it, about the person I became, and I'm starting to understand some things. I was jealous of you, of the relationship you had with Early, of the respect you had in the community, of the business you built. I felt like I could never measure up. So instead of trying to build something of my own, I tried to tear you down. That doesn't excuse what I did. Nothing excuses it. But I'm trying to understand myself so I can change. I go to therapy 3 times a week. I'm in a program for people with personality disorders. I'm learning about empathy, about how my actions affect others, about how to be honest instead of manipulative. I don't know if I'll ever be a good person, but I'm trying to be a better person than I was. I know you'll never forgive me. I wouldn't forgive me either. But I want you to know you were right to expose me. You were right to fight back. You saved me from myself, because if you hadn't stopped me, I would have just kept destroying people. Forever. Thank you for having the courage I didn't have. The courage to tell the truth. Verdie." I read that letter 3 times, and then I did something I never thought I'd do. I wrote back, "Verdie, I received your letter, and I appreciate the apology, even though you're right, it doesn't undo what you did. I'm not writing to say I forgive you. I'm not there yet. Maybe I never will be, but I'm writing to say this. I hope you do change. I hope you do become better. Not for me, not for Early, but for yourself, and for any future people you might encounter. The world doesn't need more people who destroy others. It needs people who build, who create, who lift others up instead of tearing them down. Be that person, not because you owe it to me, but because you owe it to yourself. And Verdie, thank you for finally telling the truth, even if it took being caught to get there. Lovie. 2 years after the Atlanta Live appearance, I was invited back on the show for a special follow-up segment. Cicero greeted me warmly. "Mrs. Peterson, it's wonderful to have you back. How have these past 2 years been?" "Transformative," I said. "My business is better than ever. My relationship with my son is stronger than ever. My reputation is fully restored. And I've become an advocate for other victims of defamation and elder abuse." "You've been speaking at conferences. I understand." "Yes, sharing my story, teaching people how to document evidence, how to fight back against lies, how to stand up for themselves when someone is trying to destroy them." "And your son, Early, how is he doing?" "He's thriving. He's fully committed to the business. And he's dating someone new, a wonderful woman who values family and honesty. He's learned from the Verdie experience. He's wiser now." "And Verdie, have you had any contact with her?" "We exchange letters occasionally. She's working on herself in prison. I hope she succeeds. Not because I want a relationship with her, I don't, but because I don't want her to hurt anyone else when she gets out." "That's very gracious of you." "It's not gracious, it's practical. People like Verdie are dangerous when they don't change, so I hope she does change, for everyone's sake." Cicero smiled. "Mrs. Peterson, 2 years ago, you sat on this couch and exposed one of the most calculated campaigns of defamation we've ever seen on this show. You literally caught your daughter-in-law choking on her own lies, live on television. What advice would you give to other people who are being lied about?" I looked directly at the camera. "Document everything, every lie, every conversation, every piece of evidence. Because in this world, truth isn't enough. You need proof. You need receipts. You need to be able to show people exactly what's happening. And if people don't believe you, keep fighting, keep gathering evidence, keep standing in your truth. Eventually, liars get caught. Eventually, the truth comes out. It might take months, it might take years. But if you don't give up, if you keep fighting, you will be vindicated." "And what about forgiveness? Do you think you'll ever forgive Verdie?" I thought about that carefully. Forgiveness is complicated. I don't hate her anymore. I don't wish her harm. But forgiving someone doesn't mean trusting them again. It doesn't mean letting them back into your life. It just means you're not going to carry the weight of their actions anymore. And I'm not carrying that weight. I've moved on. I've rebuilt. And I'm thriving. That's my forgiveness, choosing to live well despite what she did. Today, 3 years after Verdie poisoned my name, and I exposed her on live television, I'm 68 years old and running the most successful catering business of my 43-year career. I have 15 full-time employees. We cater everything from small family gatherings to events with 1,000 guests. We're booked a year in advance, and we're known not just for good food, but for integrity. Early is my full partner now. We're planning to expand into a second location next year, and he's engaged to Zula, a wonderful woman who loves our family and respects our business. My reputation isn't just restored, it's stronger than ever, because people know I'm someone who will fight for the truth, who won't back down, who won't let lies define me. And Verdie, she has 5 more years in prison. After that, she'll be released to another state, far from here. I don't know if she'll really change. I don't know if she'll become the better person she claims to want to be. But I know this, she'll never hurt me again. Because I'm no longer the naive woman who welcomed her into my family without question. I'm wiser now, stronger, and I know how to protect myself. The Bible says, "The truth will set you free." And it did. Not just free from Verdie's lies, but free from the fear of being lied about. Free from the worry that my reputation could be destroyed without recourse. Because I learned something important. Your reputation is yours to defend. And if you fight for it with truth, with evidence, with courage, you can win. My daughter-in-law poisoned my name, but I restored it, and now it shines brighter than ever. Wow, what an incredible journey from destruction to vindication. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made you want to stand up for yourself, we need you to take action right now. Smash that like button. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful grandmother stories every single week. Turn on all notifications so you never miss our next amazing story. Comment below and tell us, where are you watching from? USA, UK, Canada, Jamaica, South Africa, Kenya, Trinidad and Tobago, Australia. We love our global family. Have you ever been lied about? Did Lovie handle this the right way? Would you have forgiven Verdie? What story should we tell next? Share this video with anyone dealing with a toxic family member, people who have been lied about or slandered, anyone facing defamation or false accusations, business owners protecting their reputations, anyone who needs courage to stand up for truth. Thank you to our incredible viewers from around the world. From the USA, United Kingdom, Canada, South Africa, Kenya, Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Zimbabwe, Australia, and everywhere else. We see you, we appreciate you, and we love you. Remember Lovie's lesson: document everything. Truth needs proof. Don't let liars destroy you. Fight back with evidence. Your reputation is worth defending. And when you expose the truth, do it publicly so everyone knows. Sometimes the best revenge is letting liars choke on their own words on live TV. Stay strong, stay blessed, and never let anyone poison your name without a fight. The truth will set you free.